some oral sex techniques or tips for men who want to please women. So I go into more detail about this in my book, A Taste of Honey, in chapter 15 on oral stimulation. But just want to read a couple of passages. So in regards to cunnilingus, the tongue is arguably the most versatile sexual organ, and it is an extremely effective tool in sexual play. For attaining an orgasm and enjoying sexual play, some women actually prefer cunnilingus to intercourse. In many ways, the tongue is better than the penis. The more subtle rhythmic movements of the tongue are more suited to gradual female sexual arousal than the harder penetrative thrusting of the penis. When using the tongue, a man does not have to worry about growing fatigued, has no time constraints, and it is effective when hard or soft. Under direct control, the tongue can be manipulated with expert precision to please one's spouse. Having the right tool is one thing, but knowing how to use it is another. Sex therapist Ian Kerner stated that many women complain woefully about men's oral techniques, the lack of consistency, rhythmic pressure, their roughness, and the mad stampede for the clitoris. A skilled cunnilingus rarely goes unappreciated. Men who are not well versed in the art of cunnilingus should try and master some oral techniques to pleasure their spouse. So I've given, and unfortunately, there's a number of men who they're not really familiar with the female anatomy, and there's a number of men who know more about what's under the hood of a car than what's under the hood of a clitoris. So in order to, and I do go into detail, like I mentioned, about different oral sex techniques and tips, but a couple that I want to I would like to share is the blowing bubbles technique. And this is where the woman should lay flat on her back and spread her legs semi-wide. The man should then press his left hand firmly on her stomach, but not forcefully. He should slowly and gently run his tongue up and down the shafts of the clitoris while blowing short, full breaths. Then he should proceed to repeatedly blow short, full breaths into her vagina and create bubbles with his mouth into her vagina. This will give her a tingling sensation. Whilst doing this, he should also use his fingers from his right hand to massage her clitoral hood. Another technique, the figure 8 tongue technique, and this is where the man should work the sensitive areas around the clitoris, i.e. the clitoral glands, in a figure 8 motion. He should arouse her with gentle sucking until the little clitoris swells, then carefully expose the area with your fingers. Use the slippery underside of your tongue to circle it to the left and then to the right. With the rougher top side of the tongue, flick from right to left, then up and down. Finally, work up to the figure 8, alternating between your tongue's smooth underside and upper firm tip. Constantly vary the degrees of pressure and use. That's a couple of oral sex techniques one can use when going down on a woman. And again, it's important that men are patient. They get to know to understand the woman's responses. They're always complimenting her, speaking about how good she looks, how sweet she tastes, and how much they're enjoying the act. So it's definitely important that men as well also check in with the woman, with their wife, to see how she's feeling when he's performing oral sex. So that again, if you want some more information, you can check out my book, chapter 15 on oral stimulation, in my book, A Taste of Honey, Sexuality and Erotology in Islam.